I'm building a wall myself for the house for $1,000 project, and it's 95% complete. It's made of warm mineral wool, turned into a reliable, lightweight, strong, non-combustible, durable sandwich material, all available at any hardware store. The wall is constructed without heavy labor and likely offers the best mix of price and advanced features. After learning about this wall, many builders will probably be shocked, foreseeing tough times ahead for themselves, because now anyone can easily build such a wall. That's the price of progress, which the Yasha Kashyak song channel promotes. A wall like this can be finished with various homemade options, and even the cheapest are just as good as expensive store-bought ones. With a thickness of only 5.5 centimeters, such a wall is not inferior in thermal performance to a 25 centimeter wall made of dry wooden beams. And that's no joke. The widespread use of cheap walls in low-rise buildings may encourage high-rise residents to move down, as many didn't choose those upper floors for a better life. Thermal insulation. Hello everyone. It just so happened that a thermal insulation material made from mineral wool based on basalt rocks for insulating walls and plaster facade systems had never appeared before on the Yasha Kashyak Songs channel videos. I chose to fill this gap and now handle boards of this material. A very interesting idea came up. It's hot out, I'm refreshing the old Wise White tobacco. In the previous video, we made a record budget capital mini pool, a plunge pool. It cools the body perfectly. During kayaking, the dog looks at me sadly, making me feel sorry for Gelatine too. There are a few doubts since there are a couple of things that could interfere with the plan. One is, will polyurethane construction adhesive foam reliably glue the basalt insulation boards together? Butt joint. I glued the first two sheets together and realized that basalt insulation can definitely be glued in a butt joint. I'm gluing 6 sheets into a strip using boards that are 50 millimeters thick. There are exactly 6 of them in a pack. While the glue sets, I press near the joints with a weight. In hot weather, this glue sets quickly. I cut off the excess hardened glue with a utility knife with replaceable blades, making sure to use a sharper blade. I cut a strip of alkali-resistant plaster fiberglass mesh along the basalt wool blank's length. I mix a plaster adhesive compound designed for gluing board insulation materials to the base and creating a base reinforcing layer on their surface. I use a spatula and stainless steel float to apply the compound. Since the surface is horizontal and not vertical, gravity on our planet helps me once again. Even someone using plastering tools for the first time can plaster a horizontal surface. I lay down the fiberglass mesh and use the flat side of the stainless steel float to embed it into the adhesive. I use a wide putty knife to smooth the surface. For what I have in mind, the surface doesn't have to be perfectly even. The plaster layer is only a few millimeters thick, so it dries very quickly in the heat. I try to keep it moist whenever possible. The mixture is based on polymers and cement, so the material will reach its full strength only after 28 days, and after that, it won't be so easy to cut it with a utility knife. And here's the second point I was worried about, whether I'll be able to flip the future wall with the reinforcing layer applied only on one side so far. My heart raced when the blank suddenly bent. And here's another dangerous moment. I'm sweeping the floor carefully, brushing away the hardened pieces of plaster so they don't damage the reinforcing layer, which hasn't gained strength yet. I'm now almost certain the ultra energy efficient and record low cost wall will turn out well. I'm mixing the adhesive compound again and repeating the simple sequence of actions. Producing fiber from stone uses natural processes. After volcanic eruptions in the Hawaiian Islands, so-called Pele's hair was found. The threads are formed by stretching molten basalt fountains, lava flows, and splashes of lava which cool quickly in the air and the wind. It's gotten even hotter outside. The plaster mix thickens quickly, so I plaster the second side of the wall in 2 stages. In 1840, geologist James Dana described Pele's hair on the Kilauea volcano. This hair-like capillary form of lava was introduced into modern scientific literature in 1967. American volcanologist Gordon MacDonald gave it a Hawaiian name in honor of Pele, the goddess of volcanoes, known to Hawaiians as the mistress of fire and strong wind. Done. I got carried away talking, and the other side already noticed. The facade insulation is dense stone wool with reinforced plaster layers. I could hardly fit my hands under the wall. Adding the reinforcing layer dramatically changed the situation on the other side. It felt like we were carrying a solid and reliable wall about 4 square meters in size. Imagine what it'll be like in 28 days at full strength. We carried the wall behind the bathhouse. We needed to clear some space because we were expecting friends from Moscow to visit. Kirill and his wife, Masha. Kirill has been with the Yasha Kosyak Songs channel nearly since it started. He works at a large construction company and exclaimed that this wall was awesome when he saw it. I was glad to get such feedback from a professional. In my super mega budget project, a house for $1,000, I used the cheapest construction solutions. The roof on which I spent a record low amount has already lasted for 3 years. The material, never before used as roofing, still works well. It can be covered with ondulin in a staggered pattern at any time, which is why I made the battens. The material won't noticeably weigh down the light structure. Because of faith in the future and innovative ideas. On the second hybrid attic floor, a $1,000 space was reserved for a future yet-to-be-invented wall. I thought the ultra-cheap warm walls on the first floor weren't the only option. There must be others too. And now we can immediately start testing the wall in completely real conditions. I'm measuring the dimensions of the wall panels that need to be cut from the wall blank so that they fit between the frame studs. To keep the panels secure during installation, I use metal brackets and plates as temporary supports. I will secure the wall frame elements with only construction polyurethane foam adhesive. Like Neil Armstrong's timid steps, I take my first steps. Even if you lift it flat, it hardly bends. Just imagine what's next, guys. It's turning out great. This is a real sandwich panel without the expensive metal, and on top of that, you can apply countless finishing coatings to it. From cheap homemade to pricey store-bought options. By the way, you can support the research done on the Pesny Yashi Koshyaka channel on YouTube through the sponsorship button, and viewers from Russia can do it through the Boosty service. The link is under the video. Thank you very much in advance. I used an angle grinder with a stone disc to cut the top reinforcing layer and a utility knife for the basalt middle layer. I recklessly try to cut through the bottom layer with a knife too. It didn't work. I even managed to lift the half-cut wall to put some bars underneath. Then, I used a handsaw I didn't mind damaging. The cutting technique still needs some work. Even a narrow strip stays strong. Next, I simply saw through the core and bottom layer with an old handsaw I don't mind damaging. And you don't even need to use an angle grinder, I just want the fiberglass mesh to reduce the grip even more in the weak layer. Let me remind you that many of the construction methods used on the Yasha Kosyak channel are experimental and may require more thorough testing. Unfortunately, I'm not trained in laboratory work, so the decision to use them or not is entirely your responsibility. It looks quite industrial. I share all my research online, and you can decide for yourself. I hope these actions will help redeem me, so regular viewers of the Yasha Koshek Songs channel stop calling me Yasha Panopolis Tyrol. For new viewers, I want to say that extruded polystyrene foam has been my main building material for more than 2 years now, which is why people try to tease me like that. But it won't be in this video. For over 15 years, all the doors in our main house have stood, even though my wife sometimes slams them hard, all thanks to foam. Even the dog seems shocked again. The thermal performance of such a wall is comparable to that of a wall made of dry wooden beams, 25 centimeters thick. That's no joke, and it's way too much for my ultralight project. The sound insulation is also excellent. As for burglary resistance, first of all, I use the wall on the second floor, which you still have to climb up to. If you don't save as much as I did, you can make the reinforcing layers thicker, like 1 centimeter each, which will further increase the strength. Third, only a truly insane thief would try to break through a stone wall instead of using the door or a window. Soon the wall will look just like that. I can cut through a structural insulated panel house wall now common in construction with a cordless jigsaw in minutes. No actual stone is needed for the stone look, you just need a little bit of the cheapest tile adhesive. For those who forgot what a structural insulated panel is, it's a sandwich where highly flammable oriented strandboard boards are on the outside and extremely flammable foam is inside. I can cut open a classic sandwich panel made of metal and insulation even faster with a cordless angle grinder. On the wall, we have a basic reinforcing layer onto which we can now apply a huge variety of finishing options. You could use half-timber decor, but I prefer the chalet style with stone. Even though the first floor wall is decorated to look like brick, there's a bit of a mix of styles, stone and brick. But this is still a $1,000 house project. I just build with whatever I have on hand. Based on experience, most people think that to hang something on the wall, you have to nail or screw it in. But why not, for example, just glue it? When reinforced concrete started being widely used, there were also difficulties. You couldn't nail or screw anything into those walls because they were so strong, but the hammer drill and anchor solved that problem. Same here. If the technology is advanced, minor drawbacks can be fixed. Anyone can easily estimate the cost price of the wall I'm making based on the current prices in their region. For each square meter of wall, you'll need 1 square meter of insulation, 2 of fiberglass mesh, 10-12 kilograms of plaster mix, and a few grams of adhesive foam. That's all. Surely this is not really an innovation, but just reinventing the wheel again. But I haven't seen these materials for sale here or any do-it-yourself options. Maybe it's some kind of construction conspiracy that couldn't be revealed, and now I'll be hunted by angry builders. But what can you do? Our job is dangerous and tough. And this is my most successful homemade tool of this construction season. I used the cheapest facade paint and some colorants. The work is simple and easy. It's like going back to childhood and doing my art homework, only the brush is a bit bigger and I wash it not in a cup but in a bucket. Or did I just revert to childhood? With some practice, I could paint it to look like malachite or emeralds and become the Wizard of the Emerald House for $1,000. My wife also got involved in the work, but behind the scenes. She added depth to the stones by lightening them and using a tinted antiseptic acrylic varnish. Don't judge us too harshly, we're not professionals at all, we just love building things for ourselves. Give us a big thumbs up, subscribe to the Yasha Kozak Songs channel, follow me on Zen and Instagram, all the links are below the video, and hit the bell too, and then I'll definitely keep you informed. Let there be peace all over the world. Thank you.